You had a famous painter down here one time.
Paul Henry?
Mm-hmm.
Paul, yeah. Before our time, I'm glad to say. Although he would have been a very interesting man, I think, to have met. He stayed with John and Eliza, Liz's granddaughter and granduncle, in the Bervie. In the Amethyst, when he first came in 1910 with his wife, his new wife at the time. And they stayed for many years, and he kept up a correspondence with John even after he left the island. The story goes that he left a lot of paintings behind him with John and Eliza in the Amethyst, and very often people locally can't believe that we don't have a house full of Paul Henrys. The only Paul Henry we have are a couple of working sketches that we had to go out and buy. But as I said to people, if we had all those Paul Henrys, well, you'd see the Bentley on one side and you'd see the yacht on the other, but such is not the case.
Well, what did you like about Achill? Why did he spend so much time down here?
I have a feeling it was something in the same way of thinking as Heinrich Böll had later on, the German Nobel laureate and writer. Paul Henry being from Belfast and being very engaged in the cosmopolitan scene, say Belfast, London, Paris, found something completely different down here. And I would imagine probably saw something in the area that had changed somewhat out of the area. Of course, he had never been to the west of Ireland before he came in 1910. The same thing with Heinrich Böll. Heinrich Böll came to the area in the early 1950s and saw something here of old German rural life in how people interacted with each other and the way they socialised, their religious, how would I say, the religious forms or the religious habits that they had at the time. And I think for Henry, the fact that the light here was so good was the other big aspect to his whole outlook on the place. He never forgot Achill. Even though he painted down in Kerry later on, he painted down in Killary, famous paintings down in Killary. But it was through his time in Achill that he came to go to Killary, because Liz's granduncle had to get him a job with the Congested Districts Board and the OPW as a paymaster, because he couldn't afford to pay his way while he was here. He was very, very poor. And John would give him a lift to Achill Sound in the morning to get the train to wherever he was going to pay out, two or three times a week. And in that way, Henry ended up going down around the Louisburg, Leenane area, and did quite a bit of painting down there. His whole experience in this part of the west of Ireland gave him the urge then to go further down the west. So he went down to Kerry and did a lot of painting down there as well, which he's not as famous for. But all his Connemara and paintings are as a direct result of his time spent in Achill.